Welcome back to Karen in the Kitchen. It's been a little while since we've done some filming, had a lot going on, it's been really busy. But today is Mother's Day and we're having a few guests out this afternoon and I'm going to be preparing a home-cooked meal. Our potatoes are not ready to dig totally yet, but we've got some beautiful potatoes out there, so I'm going to go dig a few to have a mess to cook today. So let's go out to the garden and see what we can find. Take a look at the blueberries while we're going that way. Just loaded. Look at this. Aren't they beautiful? They are just loaded. Look at there. We had a hailstorm that came through and knocked some off, but I don't think it's going to hurt us at all. We've got a lot. Really beautiful. Look. Look how gorgeous. I'm telling you, they're just gorgeous. I can't wait for those. It's just a ritual when I come out to the garden. I have to stop by here and check these out. But look at these clusters of baby grapes. Now on this side of my arbor, these are grapes that are going to have a little seed in them. Oh my gosh, the flavor of these are amazing. Now the other side is struggling. I have some that's more of a hybrid that doesn't have seeds in them, and as you can see, that one struggles, but it's getting there. It's going to get there. So we're going to see if we can fill this whole arbor up with lots and lots of grapes too. The garden is coming along so nicely. We've had lots of rains and it's looking really good, but the rains have stopped for a little while, so we're probably gonna have to do a little bit of water in here before too much longer. But lots of little tomatoes over there, lots of blooms on the peppers, and then our corn here we planted in 2 different stages just to have some fresh corn, but not all coming off at the same time. So one row is probably about a month older than the other. But this is our potatoes. They're not quite ready to dig, but you can see the vines are beginning to fade a little bit. We'll leave them in the ground for a little while longer and then we'll dig them totally. But I'm going to dig a mess now to have for our meal this afternoon. So I'm going to go right down in here and we'll see what we got in here. Oh gosh, look at that. Oh my goodness. Look how beautiful. Oh, wow. And look, we don't throw away these little ones either. They're equally as good, and you can do these all kinds of ways too. Now, the ones I'm going to cook today, we're going to make as hand-mashed potatoes. They're going to be delicious. There's nothing like it. The skin on these homegrown potatoes is so thin, and I love the skin and everything. I eat all of it. So let me get a good mess here to take in. Oh my gosh, look at there. Look how beautiful. Wow. Oh God. And these aren't even ready to dig yet. Look how beautiful those are. We're having quite a few folks out, so I want to make sure I get plenty, a big mess of them. And I'm probably going to be giving some as a gift to take home too, kind of as a Mother's Day thing. Take a look at what we got. These are beautiful. Look how beautiful those are. This is going to be perfect, and there is nothing like some fresh potatoes. Oh, they're going to be delicious. But I want to check the squash. I don't think I have any ready yet, but we are going to have a ton of squash. And zucchini and cucumbers. Oh my gosh, there is one big enough to pull. Oh golly, look. We're going to add squash to the menu this evening. There's enough to fry right there. Let me see if there's anything else in here. Take a look. Oh my goodness, look how beautiful. That's beautiful. And I've got lots of zucchini as well, but that's not quite ready, I don't think. No, but it's a lot over there. And the cucumbers are looking really good. Look how pretty these are. Look at the little baby cucumber. Look at there. That's a baby cucumber right there. Looking beautiful. Okay, it won't be much longer. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, God, look. I think we'll go ahead and pull that one. We can do some fried zucchini and some fried squash to go with our meal today. Well, it's Mother's Day. We've dug a few potatoes and actually found that we had some squash and zucchini ready as well. But I wanted to talk about the meal that we're preparing. It's one of my favorites. Of course, I say that just about everything I cook, but I can remember as a kid pulling in out of the carport at home, getting out of the car and smelling fried pork chops. You could smell it before you even got into the house. We don't eat it very often, but that's what we felt like cooking today. Some good fried pork chops with the bone still in. Now the only thing that I'm going to do to these pork chops is salt and pepper them, flour them, and fry them. Not complicated. It makes a mess, but it is well worth the mess. The other thing we're going to be having today is some fresh green beans that we grew in our own garden that we had put up last season, so we'll have that as well. And these are the potatoes that we just dug. Now you can see I left the skin on the potatoes. All right. Now something that's really important to me is to make sure that everything is fresh when my guests arrive. So we're having a pretty big crew here today, so I want to make sure that I kind of time everything where the food is coming off as fresh. So I've gone ahead and cleaned and prepared the potatoes, and I have found that fresh potatoes do not take very long to cook. Now the way that I'm going to prepare them is mashed, but we're going to be using the old-timey way of doing that. I'm going to have a few little chunks in there, but I'm letting my half and half in milk. This is whole milk and half, and some butter, salted butter. I let this get at room temperature because I don't want my potatoes to seize up whenever I make them. All right, so we're gonna get those in time, try to time that about the time that the pork chops are finishing up. The potatoes will be ready at the same time, and I'm gonna make some homemade gravy as well. So what goes into the homemade gravy? This is the golden elixir right here. This is bacon drippings. So once I finish frying my pork chops, I'm going to clean my skillet out, and I'm going to put some bacon drippings in there. And I'm going to brown some flour, and I'll put a little salt and pepper. The herbs that I'm going to throw in right at the end when my gravy is just about ready, because I'm also going to use chicken stock to make the gravy, because I think that goes best with the pork, is basil, no, excuse me, it's going to be parsley, sage, and some rosemary. So this we'll chop up and throw it in there right at the very end, and it's going to really amp the flavors up of that gravy. Of course, we're going to make Mameen's cornbread. One of our special guests today is going to be Mameen, which is my husband's grandmother, and she is not just a grandmother, she's a great-grandmother, and she is a great-great-grandmother, and I'm really excited for y'all to meet her. Amazing, talented lady who has taught me so much about cooking, and she will be 100 years old in June, and we're just blessed to still have her with us. But I think she'll like this meal too. It's one of her favorites. Some squash and zucchini. We're just going to fry that today. We do that a lot of different ways, fresh out of the garden, but today we're going to fry that. Then, here's something that's really special, and Mameen really likes this. This is called pear salad. My mom canned these pears from her own pear trees. Now, I am trying to get my fruit orchard going, and I do have a few little pears this year for the first time, but I've got a long way to go to compete with her. She's going to teach me how to do this. But what we're going to do is make a true Southern delicacy of pear salad, and I'm going to put that together in just a minute, but let me show you what the dessert is going to be. The dessert is going to be a special twist on brownies, okay? Now what we're going to do is mix up the brownies, just a regular plain brownie mix, but here's two things that I'm adding to that. I'm going to add a little bit of coffee that was left over from breakfast this morning, and I make it pretty strong. Little coffee and a little bit of Kahlua, which is a coffee liqueur. This really sends the brownies over the top with flavor. Really, it's a favorite of ours. Now once the brownies have cooked, then while it's still hot, I'm going to spread some of this marshmallow cream on the top. Yeah, it's going to be very, very rich, but it is so delicious. So we're going to put that together as well. But I wanted to show you how we do that pear salad because it is truly a Southern favorite. Let me talk about this picture right here before we get to the pear salad. This picture belonged to my grandmother. So since we're honoring mothers today, I wanted to also remember her. And every time I touch this picture, I think of my grandmother. She's not with us anymore, but she had a tremendous influence on my life. And I really, really loved her dearly. And she would make me cheese, egg omelets, and root beer floats, and just always made me feel special. But let's get started with the pear salad. Now I'm going to pop the top on this and drain the juice off of the pears. You can see they're really beautiful, real pretty. I got to get my mom to show me how to do this. So let's drain this real quickly. Get all the juice out of there. I hope I counted right. Yep, looks like we're about 2, 4, 6. I think I counted that just right. All right. Now, let's take a look at this. I'm going to lay a pear in the middle of a piece of lettuce, just like this. Not only is this delicious, it is a beautiful, beautiful arrangement as well. So, okay. These flavors are just, it's so simple, but yet it's so delicious. Some good mayonnaise, and I always recommend using a quality mayonnaise. In the South, we love our mayonnaise. I'm going to put a dollop of mayonnaise in the middle of each of these pear halves. Oop, messed that one up a little bit. Look how pretty that is. And we're going to use some cherries right here in the middle. Now this I'm making ahead of time, and I can just stick this in the refrigerator and it'll be perfect when everyone gets here. And then I'm going to also put a little bit of cheese on here. This is just some fresh shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Look how beautiful that is. Is that not a summer dish right there? It just is so pretty, but it's also very delicious. And this is one of my Mean's favorites. She loves this. Look how gorgeous that is. She'll be tickled. Okay, look how beautiful that is. Now what I'm going to do is just cover this and stick it in the refrigerator, and it's ready to go. And then I'm going to get busy cooking all of my other things that I've got to get ready. I'm going to go ahead and get the brownies in the oven, salt and pepper my pork chops, and start getting that ready to go. And just timing everything so it just comes off beautifully when everyone arrives. All right, the pear salad is in the refrigerator. Now I'm going to go ahead and fry the squash and zucchini. Kind of make that as an appetizer for when all of my guests get here. What I've done is I've taken this fresh squash and zucchini from the garden, and I've salt and peppered it. The salt makes it sweat a little bit. See there? You can kind of see how moist that looks. Now I have some that like it really thin, and then myself, I really kind of like these bigger chunks like this myself. So I kind of do a combination of that. But all I do, it's very, very simple, and it's so delicious, is I use some cornmeal, yellow cornmeal. I will dredge the vegetables in the yellow cornmeal and fry it right on up. Oh gosh, look how beautiful that is. My grease had gotten a little too hot, so I turned it down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fry the bigger pieces first, because they kind of all get ready at the same time. My thick pieces, I'm going to go ahead and fry them up first, and then I'll do the smaller pieces. Those will get good and crispy. My thicker pieces here. And what I will do with some of this squash and zucchini, this is just something I've kind of played with, and I really like it, but it's totally up to you, because some people do not like blue cheese. But after I get this fried up really good while it's still warm, I'm going to take and sprinkle some of this blue cheese on
on a few of my slices here. I really like that. It's got such a salty flavor to it. Makes it really, really good. So I'm going to just fry this up and get this going. Once I get through with this, then I'm going to start working on the pork chops and then kind of try to time everything. Green beans are ready. All I got to do is continue heating those up. I've started the potatoes to make the mashed potatoes. And once I have completely finished frying everything that I want to fry, I'm going to make my gravy, and I'm going to throw the cornbread in the oven as well. So we will have the fried pork chops, the mashed potatoes, the gravy, the green beans, the squash, the pear salad, and I've already put the brownies in the oven, so those will be coming out pretty soon, and the dessert will be ready as well, and I don't think I left anything out. It's going to be great. We'll show you the finished product in a little while.
Everything is coming together really, really well. Potatoes are done. I'm going to go ahead and kind of start getting this put together. Little salt, pepper, butter. I've let the butter and the half and half and milk get to room temperature because I do not want this to seize up on me. Alright, so we're going to put a little pepper on here as well. I'm frying up the pork chops. Squash and zucchini's been made. So I'm trying to time everything where it really is ready about the same time. Alright, so now, look how beautiful. These potatoes out of the oven, out of our garden, are just gorgeous. Look how beautiful. What you don't want is for the potatoes to seize up or get really stiff. And they do that if you introduce something cold in while they're hot. So I'm just kind of mashing these around with that stick of butter that I let get totally at room temperature. Now I'm going to add a little bit of half and half and some milk in here. Now I can certainly do these with my mixer and make them creamy, 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 which I've done before as well. Sometimes we like them like that. But I just want these potatoes a little chunky. They're going to go great with our pork chops. I'm frying up the pork chops now, green beans, and I'm going to make my homemade gravy here in just a minute. Look how beautiful that is. I wish I could describe the smell. It smells so good. Fresh potatoes out of the garden, there's nothing better. I know people say, hey, you know, there's not a difference. It really is a difference. You can taste it. You can smell the difference. I don't want to overwork them because I want the chunks in there. I like the skin still on there. Alright, so now let me take just a quick taste. I might need to add a little more salt and pepper, but let me take a quick taste of that right there. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Salt and pepper, fresh potatoes out of the garden, left the skins on them, some half and half and some milk. You don't need anything more than that. And using that hand masher, it is delicious. All right, pork chops are ready. Green beans are ready. The cornbread, everything is ready. Potatoes are ready as well. So the last thing I'm doing is the homemade gravy. This is some bacon drippings. So what I'm going to do is just take and put a little plain flour in here. I'm going to brown this up really well. And I got to make a lot of gravy because I got a big crew here to feed. So what I'll do is just mix and mix and mix and mix until this gets to the right color that I want. I'm going to season it with some salt and pepper. And then I'm going to add some chicken broth. And then I'm going to add my fresh herbs. And it's going to be ready to go. So once this is all done, we'll take a good picture of how it all looks. It's going to be wonderful. All I got to do with this gravy is just mix it. Now, one of the things that I did do is I let my chicken broth, I make sure that it is at room temperature so that we don't get a bunch of lumps in here, and it's just a nice, smooth gravy. I wish you could smell what it smells like in my house right now. It smells so good. The squash and zucchini are about gone. I don't have but just a couple of pieces of that left. So the fried squash and zucchini with the blue cheese, as well as just regular fried squash and zucchini, it's gone pretty much. So the appetizer's been eaten, but we'll do the green beans, the fried pork chops, mashed potatoes and gravy, the cornbread, and let me show you this real quick while this is cooking. Come right over here. This is the brownie mix that we did with the Kahlua and a little bit of coffee, and we did the marshmallow cream on top, and then I sprinkled a little bit of cinnamon on the top of that. This will be great to top off our meal. It's going to be wonderful. But I do have one person that I'm really, really trying to impress, so we'll introduce you to her in just a few minutes. We are about to enjoy our Mother's Day meal. This lady right here, believe it or not, is about to be 100 years old. When's your birthday?
July 2nd.
July the 2nd. This is my mother-in-law, who is also an inspiration to me. If you want to see some of the best recipes ever, just Google best of the best, and you're going to see this lady right here. This is Barbara, and this is Jean, but we call her Momine, and this meal is made special for them. Today we're going to have some of Momine's cornbread, some fresh potatoes out of the garden, some great homemade gravy, some green beans out of the garden, some pear salad, some fried pork chops, and then we're going to top it off with a delicious dessert. And I cannot...
Yay! And thanks to the chef.
We're about to dig in, but the test is when they actually eat it. So we'll see. Well, hopefully it's going to be okay. So we're about to... I can't think of a better way to end the day today of preparing this meal. It really is something I enjoy doing. It's not work to me.
A labor of love.
There you go. It's a labor of love. That's right. So we're going to dig in.